Well, the Bulldogs of Yale a chance to pull at least a share of an Ivy crown and host for the Ivy tourney with a season series sweep against Dartmouth. Good afternoon. Welcome to Red Rock Field at Beyond Park here on the campus of Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. I'm Matt City alongside Blake Skodnick. Thank you again for coming to hang out with us here on your Sunday afternoon. I'm all mixed up right now. This is game number 2 of our doubleheader going on. Game number 1 of the double dip went to the Bulldogs of Yale by a 19-0 score. It was just an offensive barrage in that opening game here. The double dip between these two teams does underscore, though, the pitching performance we saw in game number 1. Colton Shaw taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning today, 7 1/3 innings, allowing just the one hit on, walking 1 and striking out 7, not yielding any runs. A gem. He was able to twirl a couple of good pitching performances by the Bulldogs. They've taken the first 2 games of this 3-game set.
Yeah, one of the things that we've talked about in both of the first 2 games, Matt, is that Yale is a team that gets on base and advances runners station to station, and they've done that yesterday in the 18-4 victory, and they did that again this afternoon in the early game, which they won 19-0, although they did club 3 home runs, including a grand salami in the early game today on their way to that 19-0 win. That, of course, sets up this pivotal game 3 of the 3-game set, which there's a lot on the line. As we've mentioned, Yale can win this, tie for the regular season title, which they win on a tiebreaker, which then means that they host the Ivy League tournament at George H.W. Bush Field in West Haven, Connecticut. A Dartmouth win, however, gets them into that tournament, and the tournament moves to Columbia, who would then win the regular season title.
Bulldogs have won 9 consecutive games, including the outcome in game number 1 of the doubleheader here today. Caden Dosa to lead things off here for the Bulldogs of Yale. Bryce Loger, the first year on the mound here for the Big Green. This is outside for ball 1. Mark Chamberlain calling the balls and strikes behind the plate. Joshua Garcia, our umpire, down at third. And Michael Hinojosa, our umpire, down at first. Loger rocks and fires. The big righty misses outside. Loger's last appearance coming against the Big Red of Cornell. Went 5 innings in that game, giving up just 1 run on 5 hits, walked 3, struck out 4. So the first year, but the weight of the team on his shoulders right now as Dosa fouls this one up and out of play. Dosa 1 for 5 in game number 1 of the double dip here today. Struck out 4 times, but did get a single. His on-base streak continues now. 36 consecutive games in which he's reached base safely. The 2-1 foul tipped into the mitt. Zachary Casabon defensively behind Loger. Things look like this. Tyre Rodriguez over at third. Elliot Cruson at short. Camden Rush at second. Ethan Brown at first. Chris Miller, Axel Reese, and Jackson Hauer left to right in the outfield. And Casabon doing the catching. 2-2 on the way. End of the bat. High fly ball going out towards right field. Hauer is looking back on the track, looking up off the top of the fence. Dosa's digging in for a second. Dives in. Doesn't realize that the ball wasn't fielded. Went sliding headfirst into second base. His third base coach was waving him to come over to third. Instead, he'll stop there with a leadoff double.
Dosa got a great piece of that ball. And, as we've mentioned, the wind's been blowing out to right field all day. That one hung up in the wind, catches the top of the wall. He missed a home run by maybe 8 inches, maybe. And rounded first, chugging into second. I don't think he realized that the ball had gotten past Hauer and Reese. And probably he could have had a triple. It would have been close, but.
So the Bulldogs in business right away. Leadoff runners in scoring position. Garrett Larson offers at the first pitch and fouls it out of play. 2 for 6 in game number 2. 3 for 10 so far for the series for Larson with 3 runs scored, sitting at an even 300. Entering play in the final Ivy contest of the regular season. Yale at 29-12 overall. Dartmouth at 11-24. 8 of Dartmouth's 11 wins have come in Ivy play. They're at 8-12 on the season. Bulldogs at 15-5. Bunt drop down the third baseline will trickle foul. So that'll bring Larson back to the box. Trying to straighten things out here down the count. No balls, 2 strikes. As we've documented it throughout the weekend. Win here for the Bulldogs today ties them with Columbia for the Ivy regular season title. By virtue of the tiebreak over the Lions, winning the season series 2-1, Yale will be hosting the Ivy tournament. Dartmouth needing a win here today. That would put them at 9-12, tie them with Harvard. They took the season series against the Crimson here in Hanover 2-1. 0-2 on the way. Bender that stays up high. Count goes to a ball, 2 strikes.
Dosa taking a big lead at second. He's going to be looking to go potentially, if the ball's put in play on the ground right away.
Dosa's got a dozen steals on the season, but right now Yale just looking to move him up at least 90 feet in there for a call. Strike 3 as Larson watches it sail by. First strikeout of the game for Loger, 1-7 on the season. This is appearance number 12, start number 9. 43 and 2/3 innings pitched to go along. And 24 strikeouts against 22 walks and a 5.98 earned run average. Jake Williams, the batter. All he's done in each of the last 2 days is go deep twice.
2 for 6 with 3 runs scored in the early game. Homer and a double.
Homer went out to deep right center field. He homered to right field yesterday. Takes a breaking ball in for a called strike 1.
Loger's been doing a good job early in this game, mixing in a couple of breaking balls that have kept the Yale batters honest.
Williams away with Dosa dancing off a second. This one sent right into center field. It's going to get down quickly. Reese is going to be up with it. Throw will come to the pitcher's mound, cut off there by Brown. Dosa has to hold over at third, but it's runners at the corners with just one gone here in the top of the first.
Just a nice piece of hitting to get the barrel of the bat on the ball, I should say, and up the middle it goes, advancing the runner, setting up runners at the corners with 1 out.
Alec Atkinson will be the batter, the DH. 2 for 4 yesterday against the Big Green. Off the end of the bat and into the screen for strike 1. 3 runs scored in game number 1 for Atkinson, wrapping off a pair of hits, officially 2 for 3 with a pair of walks. Knocking a double and a single, so back-to-back multi-hit games against the Big Green here.
4 Bulldogs scored 3 runs in the first game, and 2 scored 4.
Atkinson will take a moment, look to step back in. Counts even up at 1-1. Bulldogs also always a threat to try and run. Dartmouth playing double play depth up the middle. Rodriguez, even with the grass, over at third. Snap throw over to first, and Williams is back in with a head first dive. Atkinson, the senior out of Brookshire, Texas, second team All-Ivy a season ago, awaiting a 1-1. Thinks about offering the appeal down to first. Does not go around, says Michael Hinojosa. The count goes to 2 balls and a strike to the Bulldogs' designated hitter.
Loger was great in his last start against Cornell, going 5 innings with only 1 run allowed, as you mentioned. I happened to be up here for that one. The 1 run coming in the 4th inning of that game on a single by Luke Johnson that scored Jacoby Davis.
Atkinson out in front. What the Big Green need right now is a big pitching performance from the first year. Bulldogs have been relentless. 18 runs yesterday, 19 runs in game number 1. Atkinson waiting for the 2-2. Breaking ball, cut on and missed for strike 3. Logers recorded both outs by strikeout. That puts 2 away here in the frame. Tommy Martin will find his way up to the plate.
Big early afternoon for him. Hit a grand slam, a double, walked and scored a run, got hit by a pitch and scored a run, got hit by another pitch and scored a run.
He drove in 6 of the 19 runs for the Bulldogs in game number 1. That for Martin coming on the heels of a 3 for 4 day. He's having himself a great series against the Big Green. Takes outside for ball 1. Dosa with the leadoff double. Williams followed with a ringing single into center field. They lead off of first and third respectively. Yale looking to make a dent here against Dartmouth early. 1-0 coming. Breaking ball stays outside. Game time temp close to 60 degrees. Wind continuing to swirl across the field, blowing out a little bit towards center field. Warm in the sun, a little chilly in the shade, but feeling like spring finally here in New Hampshire's Upper Valley. At least on a weekend, feeling like spring. 2-0. Just misses the outside corner. No, does catch the outside corner, it looks like. Count goes to 2-1. My apologies.
I was up here for Loger's last start against Cornell in the third game of that set, and I could tell you that day was not spring weather. It was 42 degrees and kind of spitting rain. Not ideal for baseball.
Runner from first takes off. Throw is going to sail into center field. Coming home from third will be Dosa. And the Bulldogs produce their first run of the game with aggressive moves on the base paths. Likely going to go down as a throwing error on the catcher, Casabaugh. That allows the Bulldogs to plate their first run here in game number 2 of this doubleheader. So Martin stands in. That last pitch was a ball. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone. Runner standing on second. Tries the backdoor with a breaking ball. Loger thought he had it.
Loger absolutely steaming as he turned around, walking back to the rubber.
So the count has gone full here to the Bulldog right fielder. Payoff pitch on the way. This is low and outside. So first walk drawn here by the Bulldogs. Game number 2 of the doubleheader. They've been patient at the plate. They will find their way on base any way they can. It gives them 2 on with 2 out here. Jack Dower will be the batter.
Dower. 12 walks by the Bulldogs in the first game. I had to count them up because I couldn't remember if it was 11 or 12. It was 12.
They had 12 walks. Jack Dower drew 4 of them, officially 2 for 2 with 3 runs scored, including a 2-run homer to right. First pitch in for a called strike to the Bulldog third baseman. Already 1 run coming across. Caden Dosa on the throwing error into center field. This one's going to be slashed out towards right field. Howard's got a beat on it, and he'll grab it for out number 3. So the Bulldogs push across a run here in the top of the first. They leave 2 on base. Half an inning complete in Hanover. It's Yale 1 and Dartmouth. It's been some impressive pitching performances here. Both starters going into the 8th inning of each of the first 2 starts here for the Bulldogs of Yale. Jack Oman yesterday, twirling a gem, and then going into the 8th today for Colton Shaw. 7 1/3 innings pitched in game number 1 for Shaw, taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Game will start off here for the Big Green. Tyra Rodriguez to lead things off. Elliot Cruson and Camden Rush due up for Dartmouth. Jack Dower manning third. With Pirantoni's at short, Jake Williams at second, Hayden Sebecki's over at first. Garrett Larson, Caden Dosa, Tommy Martin left to right in the Bulldog outfield. And Max Imhoff behind the plate doing the catching here for Cohen. Rodriguez coming off an 0 for 4 in game number 1 of the doubleheader. Did not reach base in that contest. That snaps a 21-game streak in which he reached base safely. Struck out twice during the course of that 0 for 4 game. Working exclusively from the stretch. Here comes Cohen, pumps in a strike. Count squares up at 1-1.
Couple of hits will lock up the Ivy League batting title for Tyra Rodriguez. He comes into the second game of today's doubleheader with a .358 average, 43 for 120 on the year.
Pops this one foul and out of play. The count moves in the favor of Cohen. A ball, 2 strikes. Columbia knows they've won at least a share of the Ivy title. The Lions casting an eye towards the Upper Valley to see if they'll be hosting. Same thing with the Crimson of Harvard. A chance for them to try and get in. This one's going to catch the outside corner, and Rodriguez is going to go down looking. 1 up, 1 gone here in the home half of the first. I'll bring up Elliot Cruson. So Cruson looking to dig in here. Dartmouth is just looking for base runners in game number 2. Cruson watches this one sail outside. See the wrap on the right arm. Cruson was hit by a pitch. In game number 1, officially going 0 for 3. Cruson just one of 2 base runners Dartmouth had in the opening 7 innings. Takes low here. Count goes to 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, he was hitting the forearm in the 5th inning of the game. Went down to first base, waved off the trainer. The first base said no. First base coach said no. The trainer's going to come out and look at you, and he did. Cruson stayed in the game, but now we see that wrap on the right arm.
Cruson takes outside here for ball 3. So 3 straight balls thrown here by Cohen as Cruson awaits. And he takes. It's going to be ball 4. So Dartmouth with 1 out base runner here in the bottom of the 1st inning. That'll bring up Camden Rush. Rush in game number 1 did wrap out a hit, 1 for 3 with a walk. That one was a single that came in the 9th inning.
You and Max, Danny, come on, kid.
Rush, the sophomore, waiting the first pitch here from Cohen. It misses low. Cohen having trouble finding the zone right now. After getting Rodriguez to go down looking, that's 5 consecutive balls. Rush 1 for 7 in the series. After an 0 for 4 yesterday. Takes here right down the pipe for a called strike. Comes inside this time, just misses the dish. 2-1 now to the Dartmouth second baseman. Cruson not too big of a lead over off of first. Has just 2 steals on the season. Dartmouth as a team just 31 stolen bases. Foul it into the netting, and that will even up the count at 2-2.
Cruson not taking a particularly big lead at first.
Rush is dug in, so Becky holding Cruson on over at first. Cohen with a look and a fire. This is going to be called strike. They're not even going to appeal down to first base. Mark Chamberlain's going to say that he went around. So Rush goes down swinging. Much to the chagrin of the Dartmouth dugout, Bob Whalen is out, not happy at the moment.
Absolutely livid as Whalen. I can understand why, and he's really getting after Chamberlain as well as Garcia. Garcia made a similar call in the first game, I think, that Whalen was not particularly happy with.
That brings up Elliott Brown with 2 down here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Brown first pitch swinging, sends it foul and out of play. I feel like more often than not, the batters just want them to check with the field umpires. Why not give it a second set of eyes from a better angle? Either way, it's the second strikeout of the game here for Cohen. As Brown takes low. 0 for 3 with a walk in game number 1 for Brown. Waiting for the 1-1. Out on the front foot. Good breaking ball thrown in that time. Off the hands of Cohen. He's a pitch away from putting the big green down, all via the strikeout here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Set at the belt, and here comes the 1-2. Runner from first takes off. Pitch is going to be low and outside, and sliding into second base with a theft will be Cruson. Picks up his 3rd steal of the season, puts himself in scoring position with 2 down.
Well, Ethan Brown's from a town that more also, like DeCorrado, known for hockey, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
2-2. Falls outside. Count has gone full. 2 for 4 day yesterday for Brown. Knocked in one of the Dartmouth 4 runs that they were able to score. Takes low here, is able to draw the walk, and Dartmouth has 2 runners on.
Well, that's going to bring up DiCarado, who broke up the no-hitter in the first game shortly after I said that there was a no-hitter going. Only took 1 pitch.
The first year will dig in a big spot. Dartmouth looking for something positive to happen here early. Cruson leading off of second, Brown off of first. First pitch to DiCarado. Fouls it out of play for strike 1.
The single in the 7th inning broke up the no-hitter. He was 1 for 4 and hit into a fielder's choice in the early game today.
He's hit safely in each of his last 3 games. Had 2 hits yesterday afternoon. Takes above the letters here for ball 1. Win here for the Bulldogs would be their 10th straight overall. And would be their 8th in Ivy play. Breaking ball cuts inside. Can't find the zone. You want to be playing good baseball at the right time. I suppose there's never a wrong time to be playing good baseball, but especially at the end of the season, building towards the Ivy tournament. Good.
Never a bad time to play good baseball.
DiCarado, healthy swing, can't catch up to it.
But if you're going to play good baseball, you'd like it going into the tournament.
DiCarado taking a moment to step out and collect himself. Steps back in, taps the dish. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone, 2 on for the big green. Cohen bears down. Pitch comes inside, so the runners out on the base pass will get a head start. The count going full. Bulldogs repositioning their defense ever so slightly. As DiCarado waiting the payoff pitch coming here from Cohen. Instead, they'll flip back towards that second base bag with Pirantoni coming in from the backside. Cruson leading off of second. Brown leading off of first. DiCarado waiting the 3-2. Runners go. Pitch is in there for a called strike 3. So Daniel Cohen able to sidestep a pair of walks here in the bottom of the first. 7-8-9 due up here in the lineup for the Bulldogs of Yale. Hayden Sebecki, Max Imhoff, and Jeff Pirantoni going against Bryce Loger in the second inning of work, giving up just the 1 run in the top of the first. The first year trying to keep his team not just in it, but find a way to propel them to a win and potential berth into the Ivy League tournament. 3rd season the Ancient Eight will be hosting an Ivy 4-team double elimination tournament. Quakers of Penn looking for the three-peat. They've won each of the first 2. They beat Cornell last season. Quakers did so as 3 seed. This one sent up the box and into center field for a base hit. So Sebecki leads things off, and for the second straight inning, the Bulldogs have the leadoff runner on.
3rd hit of the day for Sebecki after he went 2 for 2 in the first game with a run scored. Also drew 3 walks and got plunked once.
Max Imhoff, the batter now, has already driven in a pair of runs today. Had an RBI double in game number 1 to go along with No, that wasn't a pair of runs, excuse me. Robert Ciula picking up that second ribby on an RBI ground out. So Imhoff awaits. Takes a bender for a called strike 1. He's able to sneak in the side door with that one, was Loger. Mixing in a lot of breaking pitches early, trying to keep these Yale bats off balance. Sebecki back in with a dive over at first.
I mentioned the weather conditions for Loger's last start. It was 42 and kind of drizzly, not particularly pleasant, but Loger, of course, no long sleeves.
Another breaking ball that cuts through the zone here. Imhoff finds himself down, no balls, 2 strikes. Keep an eye on Sebecki over at first. Has a dozen steals on the season, and as we say that, he's back in with a head-first dive. Has yet to be caught trying to swipe a bag. Bulldogs with just 1 steal in each of the first 2 games. They haven't needed to really force the issue. 2-0 0-2. Cut on and miss for strike 3. Third strikeout for Loger. And there's one away here in the top of the second. Here comes Jeff Pierantoni.
Sacrifice situation, so it's possible we will see Pierantoni attempt to bunt here.
1 for 4, the walk and a run scored. He drove in the first 2 runs of the game. Came up with the bases loaded. The top of the second and a single back up the middle off the glove of Rush. Runner from first takes off. This one chopped over on the right side, but will go foul. Sebecki was moving. Hit and run was on. Could literally hear the wind swirling right now around the field.
It's blowing directly out to right field right now, Matt, but it's also shifted for those of you who participate in the sport of sailing. There's been about a 20-degree shift at times towards center field.
All I know about sailing is being in irons is bad.
Yes, being in irons is very bad. That means your boat is pointing directly into the wind.
And going nowhere. This pitch not going over the plate as it misses and low and inside for ball 1.
The few times I've attempted to competitively sail in dinghies, I've found myself in irons frequently.
Often during the summer, I will find campers at the summer camp I work at in irons, and that means it's time to go out in a boat and rescue them, which is how I know what irons is. How to get out of it, don't know. 1-1 coming. This one misses low and outside.
The easiest way to get out of it is to just not get into it in the first place.
That would seem to be key. Just a matter of keeping them out of it to begin with. Sebecki leading off at first. Hasn't moved since the first pitch of the at-bat. 2-1 here to Pierantoni. Offers at it. Sends this one over towards the Dartmouth dugout, sending everyone ducking out of the way. Ricochets back into the field to play, and Rodriguez sends it back over towards his teammates.
Of course, the joke about being in irons on a sailboat reminds me of the joke Bob Uecker had about how you catch a knuckleball, wait for it to stop rolling and pick it up.
Loger looking in. Sets at the belt. Snaps back over to first. Sebecki back in, no problem. This has to be the last Ivy sport still playing in the regular season. Softball concluding their tournament yesterday. Brown coming away as champs. Lacrosse is already in the NCAA tournament for both the men's and women's. This one off the end of the bat and into the screen. Do a 2-2 over again.
Good thing the screen is here. That might have been into the booth.
Beautiful setup here at Red Ralph Field at Biondi Park. Similar setup to the Dartmouth softball park. A little more than a stone's throw away from where we are right now. Pierantoni waiting on the 2-2. Off the end of the bat, skies this one down the left field line, but that'll find its way out of play.
Look out on the pickleball courts.
Pierantoni doing what he does, keeping at bats alive. You can't let the batting average fool you. It was just under 200 coming into the weekend, but he is not going to give away an at bat.
No, he may be hitting under 200 coming into the early game today, but his on-base percentage was .315. So this is a guy that reaches base at a respectable clip.
Another 2-2 comes in high. If nothing else, he's making Loger work right now. The count has gone full.
You know, one of the things you'll hear coaches say about college baseball is if you can make starters work, anything can happen, because in the college baseball world, the talent gap from your top pitcher to your bottom pitcher is wide.
Another check of the runner, Sebecki on over at first. Big Green, their last home series against Cornell, picking up a series sweep to keep their hopes of finding their way in the Ivy tourney alive. Runner from first takes off, and no, the system is not glitching. It's another foul down the first baseline with Sebecki in motion. So Yale being aggressive with the count full, looking to start the runner. Dartmouth had won 4 straight games before falling in a non-conference contest to Merrimack. They were able to top Holy Cross on the road in Worcester. Crusaders, champions of the Patriot League in the regular season. Pierantoni waiting for a payoff pitch. It's going to be high as the runner was in motion. So Pierantoni able to draw the walk. Goes back to your point, the batting average might not be there, but the on-base percentage still plenty good for a player that's not hit as well as he has in the past, but still finds a way to get himself on base, and the lineup turns back over the top. And Caden Dosa. Dosa, who doubled his first time up and eventually came around to score on a throw into center field. This one comes inside, and it gets him. So Dosa is going to be hit by the pitch as that one caught around the shoulder blade, and the bases are full of Bulldogs here in the top of the second inning.
Starting to feel like deja vu all over again as a walk followed by a hit by a pitch. And in the first game this afternoon, 11 of the 19 runs scored by Yale. Those runners reached base either by walk or getting hit by a pitch.
So Garrett Larson with the bases loaded. Dosa at first. Pierantoni at second. And Sebecki at third. Takes a called strike one. Larson in game number 1 didn't break through with a hit until the 8th inning. Puts a charge of this one out in the left. It's going to get down, and at least one run's going to come across, being waved around from second base on the place is Pierantoni. Throw to the plate will not come through as Rodriguez holds the cut. And it's a 2 RBI single into left for Garrett Larson. Bulldogs jumping on top 3-0.
A nice piece of hitting there as Larson pulls the ball just past Rodriguez and Cruson and into left field. Rodriguez has the choice there. Is he going to go for the plate? Well, he didn't really have much of a chance as Pierantoni was more than halfway down the third base line. Probably wise of him there to just eat it and concede.
Comes over now to Jake Williams. Has been swinging a good bat, to put it mildly, here this weekend. 2 for 5 with 3 runs scored yesterday with a home run. Game number 1 this afternoon. A pair of extra base hits working in with a couple of walks. 2 for 4, 3 runs scored. And a solo shot out to right center. Came into the weekend series with just a single home run. Has gone deep twice here against the Big Green. Got 2 runners on, and with just 1 gone, the Bulldogs a chance to try and break things open. Pickoff play at second. Back in with a dive will be Dosa. Lots of chatter from the Bulldog dugout, as one might imagine with the way they've been swinging it here this weekend in Hanover. Breaking ball comes inside. Williams pulls out of the way. Casabon held it for a moment, trying to pick up the call, but none coming.
Thought that was a little bit closer than Williams did. Williams jumped out of the way. I thought that might have caught the corner of the plate.
Turn back towards second, a token throw. Brown playing behind the runner. Larson over at first. Dosa leading off of second. Cruson dancing in behind it. Pitch coming to the plate. 1-0's in there for a called strike. Two runs across already for the Bulldog. They lead 3-0. Here comes the pitch off the end of the bat. That one's going to be fouled up and out of play. 18 runs yesterday for the Bulldogs, 19 runs earlier today.
Cruson and Rush doing a interesting job at second and short, respectively, to keep the runner on second. Dosa honest.
Trying to keep him tight to the bag as best they can. Pitch is going to be in there for a call, strike 3. That's the 4th strikeout of the game here for Loger. 2nd strikeout looking. 2 away here in the top of the 2nd. Atkinson, one of those strikeout victims, went down swinging in the 1st. Throw back towards 2nd. Cruson did well to hold on to that throw as Dosa went back diving in.
Had to reach across his body and almost got it, and then tripped over Dosa, who had slid safely into the bag, but not by much. Cruson was still able to get a tag on him.
Atkinson, high fly ball going out towards right center. Reese and Howard going back on it. Howard will reach up, make the grab, and the side will be retired, but 2 more runs come across for the Bulldog. Garrett Larson delivering a 2 RBI single, 1.5 done here in Hanover. It's Yale in front of Dartmouth, 3-0. So Miller, who entered late in game number 1, came on as the defensive replacement for Jackson Howard. Got 2 at-bats, flew to center field in each of them. One for 7 now in the series is Miller. Dartmouth just looking for base runners. Takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Cohen has not worked through the 5th in either of his last 2 starts as the 0-1 comes in. Swung on and missed by Miller.
Good hard slider there. Got him to chase the ball on the outer half of the plate as it dipped and ducked away.
Cohen got 5+ in 5 straight starts before the last 2. This one skips off the dish and Imhoff keeps it in front. Count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Cohen's working primarily as a starter for the 2nd straight season. Made 11 appearances last year, all of them starts. Drops this one in just a bit low. Count squares up at 2-2. With 3 and 4 last year with a 4.99 earned run average. 51 strikeouts against 24 walks. 4.21 was the ERA coming into today. 2-2, can't find the zone.
Worked 6 innings 3 times this year. Most recently against Brown on the 6th of April. Struck out 9.
Payoff pitch, misses low. Big Green have a leadoff runner on here in the home half of the 2nd inning.
Cohen struck out 9 at Harvard on March the 29th. Seems like a full season of weather ago.
I'll bring up Jackson Howard. Hoping the sunny conditions here will lead to some warming up of the Dartmouth bats. 4 runs scored yesterday, none scored in game number 1 this afternoon. Howard takes one right down Main Street for a called strike 1.
Tate Evans just ran out to the Yale bullpen. See if he starts getting up. Robert Ciula, the catcher, joining him.
Howard taking here for ball 1, 0 for 2 in game number 1. Howard, the senior out of Erie, Pennsylvania. Honorable mention all Ivy as a sophomore is taking off from first was Miller. Pitch foul the way towards the backstop, so he'll have to make his way back to first base. The count goes to 1-2 to the Dartmouth left fielder. Throw over to first, back in with a dive is Miller. Howard 219 on the season. Coming here to game number 3. This one line towards short, gets underneath the glove of Pierantoni into left field. Hitting second and moving on to third is going to be Miller. He'll be held up there and cruising into second base with a slide. is Jackson Howard with a double.
Here, Antoni just dove right over that ball. It goes right under his left arm that was outstretched. Into left field it goes, and just like that, the Big Green have runners in scoring position with no outs.
This has not been a situation that they've seen a lot of this weekend here against Yale. As Axel Reese will be the batter. Reese, the first year 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in game number 1. Offers at the first pitch and sends it into the screen. Foul for strike 1. Dower pulled in on the cutout over at third. Now they're going to back him up a little bit. Middle infield playing back. They'll seed the run on a ground ball anywhere up towards the middle. So Becky a couple steps behind the bag at first. Pitch misses outside. Count even at 1-1.
Right, Danny, find your spot on Max. Hit it. Come on.
So Reese hitting with 2 runners in scoring position. Chops this one towards the third base side. Diving play made by Dower to his feet over to first. The throw is going to be in time as the tag will be applied. Coming in the backside, though, with the first Dartmouth run of the afternoon will be Chris Miller. So a ground ball out. Nice play made by Dower to keep it on the infield. And then a good tag applied by Sobecki. But Miller comes across with the first Dartmouth run.
Yeah, it was a nifty play by Sobecki as the throw draw him off the bag towards home plate. He was able to reach out and get the tag on Reese and knocked him to the ground in the process, although I don't think that was by any means intentional.
They've got the runner. Howard picked off over at second. Throw to third is going to get him. So the Bulldogs put on a play. They record out number 2. Finally feel like if you're Dartmouth, you're building some momentum, and then Howard gets picked off the second base bag. That should go 1 to 4 to 5 if you're scoring with us at home. Instead of hitting with a runner in scoring position for Zachary Casaubon, it's the bases empty with 2 gone. He takes the call, strike 1 on a healthy fastball, fired in by Cohen. Another fastball pumped in quickly. Cohen ahead. No balls, 2 strikes. Casaubon 0 for 2 in game number 1 with a ground out and a fly out. This one hops into the turf.
Casaubon did have a double and score a run in the first game of the series.
Looking to try and extend the inning. First 2 runners for Dartmouth reaching. 1-2. Outside. Miller with the walk, Howell with the double. Miller coming home to score on the ground out to third on a nice play made by Dower and a good tag applied by Sobecki. Howard having to stay put on that ground ball and then picked off. This one, a high fly going out towards right. Martin making his way back on it. It's going to get over his head. Hop and hit the wall. Digging in for second base will be Casaubon. He's thinking 3. Chugging for third. The throw. Not in time. Zachary Casaubon with a triple to right and the Big Green. Keep the inning moving.
Casaubon taking that pitch the opposite way, all the way into the right field corner. Longest throw possible that Martin would have to make. Casaubon saw the chance for the triple, took it, got in there just ahead of the tag by Dower.
That is just the 5th triple for Dartmouth all season long. All 5 triples coming from 5 different players. Tair Rodriguez. Big spot here. Chance to try and shave into this Bulldog lead. Struck out looking his first time up. Tried to hold up, but Mark Chamberlain, the home plate umpire, says he won around. He got rung up by home plate umpire Chamberlain. Back in the bottom of the first. So Casaubon, the catcher, legging out the triple. Stands 90 feet away with another potential Dartmouth run. Wind blowing out in that direction, and Martin was playing closer towards center and a bit shallow. Right-handed batter. Ball tends to tail away from the right fielder as the 1-1 comes. In there for a called strike. So Rodriguez down to the count 1-2. Cohen setting at the belt. The pitch. Chopped over towards the third base side. Dower waiting for a hop. Has to hurry across the diamond in time. That will retire the side, the big green strand runner, but they get one across. We've got two complete done in Hanover. 3-1. Yale in front. So Martin will look to dig in. First plate appearance for him drew a walk back in the top of the first. Eventually stranded on the base paths. Jack Dower lined out to right to end things.
He's been hit by a pitch 3 times in this series. Must be magnetic for whatever's in the cowhide that they're using to make the baseballs.
Shows bunt on the first pitch. Gets a piece of it. Trying to drop one down. Or strike one. Oh, 1 coming. Big swing and a miss that time from Martin. I think one of the things that kind of sticks in my brain about the first 2 games of this series, with Yale scoring 18 runs yesterday and 19 here, game number 1. It's not like Dartmouth was throwing the ball around the yard and giving away outs on the base paths as the 0-2 misses outside. Bulldogs, those 37 runs they scored, all of them were driven in. Some coming via a couple of bases loaded walks, but wasn't like they were capitalizing on fielding errors by the big green. 1-2, cut on and missed.
No Little League grand slams in this series, despite the number of runs that Yale has put up.
So 5th strikeout of the game here for Loger on the bump. That brings up Jack Dower lining out to right to end things back in the first. Dower awaits the first pitch, and he offers to it. Sends this one a mile high out towards center. Reese backing up. Reaches up and makes the grab for out number 2.
Well, with 5 strikeouts, Loger is equal to season high that he set back on February 28th against the Cavaliers of Virginia down in Charlottesville.
Brings up Hayden Sobecki. Signaled and scored back in the second. Tries to hold up on the first pitch, but goes around. 4 strike 1. Specky coming around to score on the RBI single. 2 RBI single by Garrett Larson. Out in front, the pitch that darts away. Finds himself quickly in an 0-2 hole. So Loger giving his team a chance right now as he tries to shut the door on the Bulldogs. 1-2-3 for the first time here today. High fly going out towards left. Miller backing up over towards his left. Will snare it for out number 3. 5 straight batters retired by Bryce Loger on the bump. 2.5 done here in Hanover. It's the Bulldogs in front of Dartmouth 3-1. Thanks for coming to hang out with us here on your Sunday afternoon. Capper to this 3-game set. Final game of the regular season in Ivy League baseball play. Columbia, Yale, Penn have all punched their ticket to the second season here in the Ancient 8. Final spot comes down between Dartmouth and Harvard. Win for the Big Green. They'll find themselves going down to New York City as Columbia would be host. A loss here for Dartmouth today would end their season, and Harvard will be in as the 4 seed. It'll be the Bulldogs of Yale playing host to the second season in the Ivies. Elliot Cruson walked his first time up in the first, ultimately stranded at second base. Big Green have had base runners in each of the first 2 innings. Not something that's been very common in the first 2 games of this 3-game set. Grusin takes here from Daniel Cohen for ball one. Grusin gets underneath this one, pops it up and out of play. Count scores up at a ball and a strike. One-time team MVP during the 2023 season for Elliot Grusin. Gets a piece again, puts it into the netting. The count goes to 1-2. Grusin off the end of the bat, high fly going out towards right. Martin looking up, has a beat on it, back towards the track. He'll make the catch in stride for out number one.
There's another fly ball to right field, Matt, that just keeps on carrying, and Martin goes back, stops, looks up, goes back, stops, looks up, goes back, stops. Oh, I'm on the warning track. Oh, I got it.
Ball's been carrying to right all weekend. That'll bring up Camden Rush, struck out swinging his first time up in the first. First pitch from Cohen comes inside as Rush lifts the arms out of the way.
Cohen's been a little wild today, but mostly effective.
Rush taking a called strike. 1 for 8 now in the series for Rush after striking out in his first at bat. Slices this one off the floor in Varsity House. Or strike two.
Couple of young fans taking off, hoping to have the honor of carrying that ball back to the dugout.
Rush taking outside. Count squares up 2-2. Single for Rush in the ninth inning of game number 1 of the doubleheader. Broken 0 for 16 slump at the plate. Trying to put one in play here. 2-2. Chopped over towards the left side. Pierantoni waits. Gathers. Over to first. 2 up, 2 gone here in the bottom of the third. So Cohen settling down here in the third inning after Dartmouth looked like they're starting to stage a little bit of a rally in the last frame. That'll bring up Ethan Brown, walking his first time up in the first before being left there when DiCarano went down looking.
0 for 3 with a walk in the first game.
Takes a fastball here for strike one. Went 2 for 4 yesterday, did Brown.
Had a double and hit into a fielder's choice.
Knocked in a run, knocks this one nearly through an open window in the floor in Varsity House.
I think that might have caught the window, so it must be some kind of reinforced glass as we were discussing yesterday.
You would think on a campus such as Dartmouth, they would think about those things, putting those things in. 0-2 coming, stays high. Of course, you have the high netting going along the left field wall to block any potential balls from landing on the street, though I have seen a couple clear that netting out in left. This one doesn't look like it's going to clear too much as this one is going towards foul ground. Beat on it by Martin. He'll snare it for out number 2. So the inning sandwiched by a pair of flyouts.
Max Imhoff will step in for the Bulldogs. He struck out his first time up in the second. Facing Bryce Loger, who's already equaled a season high in strikeouts. And this one with 5. First pitch fastball misses just inside, and it's 1-0. Changes speeds, and Imhoff well ahead of the changeup. Fans on it, and it's 1-1. Fastball grounded, foul down the first base line. 1-2 to Imhoff, who has yielded catching duties in the late innings to Robert Ciula. Both games that have been completed in this series. The 1-2 hits him right in the back, and Imhoff will go to first base. That one didn't seem to hurt him too much.
That was a breaking ball coming in, maybe a slider they wanted to stay on top of, just kind of slipped out of the hand and never really bit. Instead, it bites Imhoff on the back, and the Bulldogs draw another hit batsman and looking to try and be in business here in the top of the fourth.
So that'll bring up Antoni, I should say. Pardon me. Caden Dosa was announced on the PA system, and Antoni bunts, and that's a beauty. It's going to stay fair. Everybody's safe. Infield hit. Rounding second was Imhoff, and he gets back in time as he was trying to catch Dartmouth napping and looking to go to third, but he doesn't get there. So a single for Antoni on the bunt.
Long day for everybody, including the PA announcer.
So Caden Dosa will now come up.
There's a look at it right
first
there.
And second. Yep.
Have to communicate there if you're the third baseman, if you're the pitcher. I feel like on that play, if you're Loger, you've got to let Rodriguez take the charge on that one. Coming in from third, he's going to have the better of the momentum. He's facing the bag, doesn't have to spin, plant, and throw. Doesn't go down as an error officially. Or do they have it down as an error? They have an error up on the board.
I think the error is case bond
that throw.
For the throw.
Took me a second there, and as soon as I said it, I went, silly me.
Strike one to Dosa. Yeah, Casaubon, the caught stealing attempt that went into center field is the error that's on the scoreboard. So it's 0-1 to Dosa. Runners at first and second, no outs. Top of the fourth. He squares to bunt, the pitch outside, and he pulls it back. So it's going to be 2-1.
You've got everybody in motion right now in the Dartmouth infield. Rodriguez cheating down the line. Brown looking to charge. Means Rush has to swing over to try and cover first, with Krusen covering the bag at second.
The 1-1 bunted right in front of the batter's circle. Up with it and throwing to first is Casaubon in time, and the runners advance on the sacrifice bunt by Dosa.
That's the small ball we've been talking about all weekend here for the Bulldogs of Yale. Dosa, who did have a knock in game number 2 while striking out 4 times, so it was absolutely on fire in game number 1. Doesn't matter where you are in the lineup. If you have a chance to try and advance the runners, Brian Ham is going to ask upon you to do it, and Dosa, the leadoff batter, able to deliver.
Garrett Larson takes that one the other way. Just foul. I mean, just foul. Maybe 2-3 inches outside of the line. That would have been big, big trouble for Dartmouth had it been in the field of play.
That was a fair ball. That's 2 runs easily. With the way Larson's able to move, you're looking at an easy double, maybe a triple.
But instead, it's 0-1. Loger deals, chopped down the third base line. Rodriguez up with it, over in time. The run scores. So Imhoff will score. That'll be an RBI and a 5-3 put out of Larson, and there are 2 away in the top of the fourth.
Just a chopper, but you see what moving those runners up is able to do here for the Bulldogs. You don't do that, you'd still have a couple runners sitting maybe in scoring position, but in doing so, pushing those runners ahead 90 feet, you're able to manufacture a run and get back the one you gave up in the bottom of the second.
So that makes it a 4-1 ball game. Loger offers a slider, and it misses. Williams 1 for 2 with a single in the first, struck out looking in the second. The 1-0, swung on and missed, strike one. Williams homered in the 5th inning of today's first game. The 1-1 from Loger, swung on and missed, strike two.
Logan has changed speeds nicely here, something you mentioned earlier in the game. Not just coming with a lot of fastballs. We've seen kind of a big sweeping breaking ball at him, a little bit of a slider look.
Tries a changeup there that misses outside, and it's 2-2.
Tony trying to rattle him down that third base line, made a hard run about 4 or 5 steps away from the third base bag, right while he was in the windup.
Loger deals that one, hit right back through the box up the middle, and a run will score. Loger did a good job of getting out of the way. But that's a single for Williams and a 5-1 Yale lead.
A small ball for the Bulldogs, pushing 2 runners in scoring position. The RBI ground up. Tony taking third, and then the single right back up the middle. Tony standing on second. That's likely not a send coming in, but instead standing on the third base bag, an easy trot home for the 5th Bulldog run.
So here's Alec Atkinson. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. 0 for 2 with a walk. Struck out and flew out to right field. It's all blending together at this point.
It's a lot of baseball in 2 days.
The 1-0 from Loger. Cut on and hit deep to left field, and you can put it on the board. That's a 2-run homer by Atkinson off of the netting that protects South Park Street. And it is 6-7-1 Yale.
Bulldogs finding their power stroke. 3 home runs in game number 1 of the doubleheader. 5th home run of the weekend for a team that had 19 home runs all season long. That one, you knew it as soon as it was off the bat. Beautiful stroke there by Atkinson, positing that one into the netting out in the left center power alley.
You certainly knew it right away, Matt. You waved it goodbye. So that'll bring up Martin. 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th, top of the 4th rather. Loger deals. Breaking ball in there for strike 1.
4th round tripper of the year for Atkinson. Had 4 home runs in his career coming into the season.
Loger misses outside for ball 2. Swung on, foul. 2 strikes now to Martin. Walked in the first, struck out to lead off the third.
Tough, Tommy, tough.
The 1-2. Swung on, opposite field. That's going to go all the way into the left field corner. Martin is going to round first. He's heading for second. Here comes the throw. Not even close. And in there with a double is Martin. And Yale has another runner in scoring position.
Pitch that jammed him inside, but able to pull his hands inside the ball just enough to get good aluminum on it and shoot it directly down that third base line. He was thinking, too, as soon as he saw that one squirt by that third base bag. It's kind of a short swing. Again, you see those hands pulling in, but is able to chop it down the third base line. Miller gets to it as quickly as he can, but no chance to get the speedy Martin cruising into second with the double.
So Jack Dower steps in, the third baseman for the Bulldogs. Flew out to right field his first time up and to center his third time, in the third inning, rather. Takes ball 1 inside. One and 0, Martin the runner at second, 2 away here in the top of the 4th. 7-1, Yale leads it. Breaking ball in there for strike 1.
Action over in the Big Green bullpen. Kyle Cleric-Shell is starting to throw. Also looks like Danny Will getting loose. Cleric-Shell a righty, Will a lefty.
The 1-1. Misses outside, and it's 2-1. A lot of chatter from the Yale dugout. Loger fires, and this one popped up behind second base. Rush underneath it, just below the pine tree logo, and he has to reach at the last second to pull it in. But he does. 4 runs on 4 hits.
Crimson going this weekend from rooting for the Bulldogs to having to go up against them if the score here in game number 3 holds. Not often you can say a Harvard team is going to be rooting for the Bulldogs of Yale.
So DiCarado, Chris Miller, and Jackson Howard due up for the big green, and DiCarado steps in. First pitch from Cohen well outside, ball 1. DiCarado broke up the no-hitter in the first game of the double dip. Swung on, grounded to first. Sebecki up with it. He'll take it himself, 1 away.
A little bit out in front. Top spins the ground ball down to Sebecki over at first. No problem for Sebecki to field it cleanly. 1 up, 1 gone.
Chris Miller will step in. He walked and scored the only run of the game thus far for the big green in the second inning. Cohen's first pitch catches the outside corner, 0-1.
Looked like that second inning, Dartmouth was putting something together.
Ooh, that one off of the glove of Imhoff and towards the Dartmouth dugout. Ball 1. Miller walked in the second, and then Hauer hit the double that scored Miller as Cohen throws the 1-1 low and outside, ball 2. And then while Axel Reese was at bat, Hauer got himself picked off, and that kind of killed the momentum. The 2-1 swung on, hit down the left field line and deep, but foul.
That was tattooed by Miller, but foul by the slimmest of margins. Joshua Garcia right down that line at the best look at it. Not too much protestation coming from the Dartmouth dugout.
It was close, but it was foul.
But my goodness, that was a swing.
So 2-2 now to Miller. Swung on, put up in the air behind first base in right field. Martin's going to get under it and put it away for the second out of the inning.
It's the third putout for Martin in the last 5 outs recorded by this Yale defense.
I thought Williams was possibly going to have a play on it, the second baseman, but it just kind of continued to carry, as we've seen happening with everything hit to right field the last 2 days. So Jackson Howard steps in. He doubled and then was picked off, as we mentioned, in the second. Fastball fouled back. He'd probably be happy if we didn't mention the pickoff again, but
those are plays, though, that kind of stick. You think about Dartmouth, and you're down 3-0, have some momentum going. Your first 2 batters reach.
Swung on, lined right at Dower at third, and he puts it away, and the side is retired. 3 up, 3 down here in the fourth for the Big Green, who trail the Yale Bulldogs 7. Taking over for Bryce Loger, who equaled a career high in strikeouts with 5 today, but fortunately surrendered 7 runs on 8 hits through 4 innings of work. So Will comes in with the Big Green trailing by 6. The lefty will face Sebecki, Imhoff, and Pierantoni.
13th appearance of the season for Will, or 14th, I should say, with 13 previous. All of them have come in relief. Comes in with an earned run average of 5.63, has 15 strikeouts against 14 walks. Does have a couple of wins coming on in relief. Last appearance for him coming against Cornell. Actually pitched in all 3 games in that series in relief against the Big Red. Most recent one coming in the capper, when inning in 2/3, allowing 1 run, which was earned on 1 hit while striking out 2 and walking 1.
Will is senior from Ambler, Pennsylvania, on the main line just west of Philadelphia. Went to William Penn Charter High School. And in steps Sebecki. Sebecki 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. He singled in the second. First pitch swung on and grounded up the third base line. Rodriguez charges up with it, fires in time, 1 away.
Slow roller, but Rodriguez did not rush it. Charged the ball, but made sure it come to him, so he was able to get a true hop, and nice throw on time, on target, over to Brown at first. Loger, the book closed on him today. 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 runs, 6 of those were earned. Walked 2 while striking out 5.
So that'll bring up the catcher, Max Imhoff. He was hit by a pitch right in the back last time up. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Takes strike 1 on the inside corner. And he was methodically advanced around the bases in the 4th. He got hit, then advanced on the single by Pierantoni. Advanced on the sack by Dosa as he fouls that one back for strike 2. And then Williams singled him home. So 0-2 to Imhoff with 1 out.
So strange watching a pitcher look at their wrist and shake off signs.
Swung on and fouled into the dirt.
Guess that's going to be the new normal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the pitch com that they use in professional baseball at every level now, and most of the leagues worldwide that play a high level of professional baseball, the Mexican League, the 4 major winter leagues, NPB, Korea, Chinese Professional Baseball League, are all using pitch com. The 0-2, low. You very seldom see a catcher putting down signs the old style way. The pitch com that they use in professional baseball, of course, it's a wristband that the catcher has, and then the pitcher has a little receiver in his hat that tells him with a mechanical voice what the pitch call is. The 1-2, outside, ball 2. The neat thing about that is you can do it in different languages. Two the count. Will delivers, swung on and fouled back and out of play towards the football field. So we'll do it again. Two to Imhoff. Swung on, grounded back up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. So Imhoff singles, and the Bulldogs have a runner on first with 1 out here in the top of the 5th.
Bulldog batters have been on it as we see another shot right back up the middle, this time against Danny Will.
Jeff Pierantoni with a single and a walk, 2 runs scored thus far in this game. 4 of the 7 runs Yale scored in this game have been put up by the bottom 3 hitters in the lineup.
We saw that a lot in game number 2 here today. Now, granted, the rest of the lineup got going with it as that game went along. But in the early stages, it was the back end of the lineup that was being productive and helping to push those runs across.
1-0 the count to Pierantoni. Curveball swung on, taken the other way towards the left field corner. That is a foul ball. Our plate umpire had the call. He ventured about halfway up the third base line, did Mr. Chamberlain.
One nice thing about field turf is it's got those black pebbles in it, and you can see pretty clearly when something and where it strikes. And from where we are, you can see some of those black pebbles kind of popping up those rubber pellets as it fell just to the left of the foul line.
Yeah, ground up tire usually used as the substrate.
Then they have a different to actually work for the warning track. Not entirely sure what it is, but it's not those black pebbles, and it feels like a little bit like some finely crushed stone to let the players know when they're getting close to the outfield wall.
2-1 the count to Pierantoni. Fastball low, 3-1. 2 years ago, I was in Mexico City for the MLB Mexico City series between the Giants and the Padres, and I was talking to Brandon Crawford, the longtime San Francisco Giants shortstop. There's not a lot of artificial turf in Major League Baseball, especially in the National League. Miami being, at least then, as that one's chopped back up the middle. Oh, takes him down at second base. Rush made the play cleanly, and then Imhoff just ran him over, and they're going to call it a double play because Rush got in the way of the runner that Imhoff got in the way of Rush, and they would have turned the double play had he not bowled him over. So that ends the inning. It's 7-1. At 7-1, the Yale Bulldogs lead it as Dartmouth coming to bat here in the bottom of the fifth. And the double play there that Pierantoni grounded into, they're calling it a 6-3 double play on the live scoring. I think they probably will amend that to make it a 4-3 double play, as it was the second baseman, Camden Rush, that fielded the ball and then was just absolutely trucked by Max Imhoff running from first to second, denying him the chance to make the double play. Imhoff, however, a good sport, helped Rush back to his feet and was like, sorry, buddy, didn't mean to.
That just happened to be, I think, the confluence of two bodies occupying the same page. You look where that ball came in. Rush had it, and as he was coming in, obviously no intent there. And Imhoff being a catcher of stout build, 5'10", 195 he's listed at. And Rush checking, I believe, is listed at 6'1", 190. So no shrinking violet himself, but the two went down. They made sure to check in with each other as Rush was coming off the field. Looked like Brian Hammer up at the third base coach's box, also checking in with him.
It certainly wasn't an Albert Bell on Fernando Vina kind of situation.
That it was not. You want to see hilarious video, look up Albert Bell in I think it was a podcast interview a handful of years ago, justifying the play he made on Fernando Vina, laying him out at second base.
It's 1-0 to Axel Reese, the center fielder for the Big Green. Swung on, and that's a base hit into left field, so the Big Green getting a leadoff base hit from Reese. They'll have a runner at first with no outs. Albert Bell was not a particularly well-liked guy.
That, from viewing afar, seemed to be fairly obvious.
I don't know if you knew that. If you followed baseball in the 90s, you certainly do.
Here's a great story about when he was with the Indians at the time, now the Guardians. And, obviously, he had some corked bats that he was using. I think it was Jason Grimsley, who literally Mission Impossible style crawled through ceiling tiles to get them out of the umpire's room.
At Old Comiskey Park, as that one's grounded just short over to second. No double play as Pierantoni was taken out by Reese, and he is down and maybe not feeling so good. I don't know if he got spiked.
Get a look at it on the replay in a moment, but Williams was on the bag taking the throw from Pierantoni. Reese went sliding in on a close play, and that's going to get everybody up on the Yale dugout. Trainer's going to come out and take a look here at Williams.
Pierantoni fields. Gets it over to Williams. Oh, yeah, maybe a spike came and got him in the ankle bone there.
It's possible, in this line coming in a little bit on the low side as well. Williams is back up there, maybe just turning the ankle over.
And I think Brian Ham now out there asking, well, you gave them the double play. Well, how about one for us?
I'm just going to get together and have a conversation, as Cohen's going to try and stay loose here.
Going to just play a little catch. Just trying to give Williams a minute to maybe walk it off a little. And so now the umpires are going to get together and discuss on whether that double play should be awarded. Rare enough to see one awarded double play, much less two.
Don't know if we can get another look at it. I'd be surprised if they do award the double play. It didn't look like there's much of a chance to try and turn it. But then again, I've been wrong many, many, many times before.
I mean, here's the thing. Casaubon is not a fast runner, despite the fact that he tripled his first time up. He's not super fast. Would he have beaten out the throw? Perhaps. I think part of the calculation is whether or not the runner going to first had a ton of time. But it looks like Casaubon will be on first on a fielder's choice. And Reese will be retired 6-4 for the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up Tyler Rodriguez, who's 0 for 2, has a share of the Ivy League batting title at the moment, can cement it with a couple of base hits, but he's got to put the ball in play, reach base. First offering upstairs, so no swing there. Ball one.
On your target on Max, hit it, come up.
Rodriguez was hitting .358 coming into this game. Fouls that one back to the backstop. 3 points ahead of Micah Peterson of Brown, who's at .355. But now at 0 for 2, as Rodriguez swings, grounds that one to third. Dower over to second, over to first, in time, double play, and the side is retired. So at the end of 5 complete innings, Yale leads it 7-1 here at Red Rolfe Field at Biondi Park. They might be starting to plan out hosting the Ivy League tournament pretty soon. We'll be back with more after this. The final game of Ivy League baseball's regular season by the score of 7-1. Leif Skodnick back with you alongside Matt Corsetti. Spring weather finally coming to the Upper Valley. Long overdue, but here we are. It's finally here.
As long as we get to enjoy just a little bit of it, right? Before everything's all said and done?
Absolutely. If you're here in Hanover, in the Upper Valley, come on out to the ballpark. Still 4 more innings. Come out and enjoy it while it's here. Dosa, Larson, and Williams due up for the Bulldogs. Dosa doubled in the first. Took a pitch in the side in the second. And had a sacrifice in the fourth that advanced the runners. So he is 1 for 1.
No surprise dropping a sacrifice.
Danny Will fires strike one in there. It's 0-1. Will took over for the starter Bryce Loger after 4 innings. Retired the side in order in the 5th as that one's fouled away, and it's 0-2 quickly.
Dosa was leading this team in just about every category coming into the weekend. Batting average, slugging, OPS, runs, hits. He's crossed the 50-hit threshold here for this Bulldog team after having 28 hits as a first-year season ago.
The 0-2 from Will. Swung on and missed, strike 3. 1 away here in the top of the 6th. As Will gets Dosa swinging, and that'll bring up Larson.
Nice job by Will to tie him up inside. Breaking ball that came in on the hands. Dosa not able to stay on top of it. And he goes down swinging here. First time he has struck out in game number 2.
Garrett Larson steps in out of Fairfield, Connecticut. Not all that far from New Haven. First offering from Will misses outside.
Fairfield, home to the Stags, and Sacred Heart not too far away as well.
No, the Pioneers. 2 longtime MAC programs as Will's second offering swung on and missed. Karam's off of Casaubon and all the way back over to the Dartmouth dugout, where they head to the batting practice supply perhaps, or maybe get a second life in this game. Hard to say. The 1-1 swung on the ground. Rodriguez picks it up on the short hop, throws it over to first to Brown in time. 2 away.
Big bounding ball. Rodriguez stayed down on, took a hop at the last second, but did his best hockey goalie impersonation that time, keeping the shoulder down in front to make sure it stayed knocked in front of him and record the second out.
You always got to keep that ball in front of you. Keep that puck in front of you. Bleed all over him. Let him know you're there.
Recently, Big Green goalie Clay Stevenson at the back end of the NHL campaign made his NHL debut with the Washington Capitals.
First pitch to Williams. Misses low and inside, ball 1.
Seen action with Hershey in the AHL mostly of the last 2 years, but Washington's playoff seeding kind of set. Chance for the call up and to hit the ice at the biggest level.
The 1-0 hit on the ground. Rodriguez picks it up, fires to Brown. The throw well off the mark, so getting to first base is going to be Williams. I think that's going to be an E5. Rodriguez was ranging to his left, went down with the glove, tried to one-hand it and come up and throw, as we see it again here. Throwing kind of sidearm across his body. It short-hopped as it got to Brown, and it was well wide of the bag, so I think we're going to see that as an E5.
7th error of the season on Rodriguez. I think he had more time to throw that than he realized. When you go with those sidearm throws, it's kind of hard to make sure that you don't loop it.
Atkinson gorks that one foul down the right side. 0-1 the count. Atkinson homered his last time up. Back in the 4th, hit one that nearly went into South Park Street beyond the left field wall. The 0-1 from Will. Low inside, ball 1. Williams with a short lead at first. Infield at double play depth. Will delivers the 1-1 upstairs. Swung on and missed. 2-2 now for Atkinson. Struck out his first time out. Flew out to right in the second. The 2-2. Inside, gets away from Casaubon, and scooting over to second is Williams. So Williams advances to second on a wild pitch. That makes the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here in the top of the 6th. Will delivers, swung on and grounded foul down the left side.
Atkinson out in front. Will changing up speeds on him there. See, walking back to the box, Atkinson with that gentle swing through, trying to reset the timing mechanism.
So we'll do it again with a full count. Will delivers, well outside, ball 4. And now the Bulldogs have runners at first and second with 2 away here in the top of the 6th. Tommy Martin stepping in. The left-hander doubled his last time up in the 4th. Walked in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd. Had a big day earlier with a grand slam, a double. 4 runs scored, a walk, hit by a pitch twice. Takes the first offering from Will outside for ball 1.
Here we go, Tommy!
Swung on and fouled way, way back there. So it's 1-1 now. Martin, the lone lefty. Pardon me, one of 2 lefties. Along with Jeff Pierantoni. As I believe was that a pitch clock violation?
I think the batter called time.
Okay.
Right? That's what they were pointing at.
The 1-1. And now Martin's saying that may have grazed his forearm, but the home plate umpire says, I don't think so. So it's 2-1 now. Will delivers. That one's low and outside. 3-1 now to Tommy Martin. Martin, a native of Bellevue, Washington, in the Seattle area.
Action back in the Dartmouth pen. Kyle Cleric shell back up and throwing the righty.
Will delivers. In there for strike 2, and the count's full. 3-2. 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Atkinson at first. He walked. Williams reached on an error. Advanced on a wild pitch. The payoff pitch from Will. Swung on. Popped up behind third base. Rodriguez under it. And he'll put it away, and the side is retired. No runs. No hits. 1 error. The Yale Bulldogs lead at 7-1. Big Green coming to bat in the bottom of the 6th right after this. Ballpark was once home to the New Haven Ravens of the Eastern League. When the Yankees AA affiliate played in West Haven, they did not play at that ballpark. They played at another small ballpark that still exists, although I believe the grandstand's been torn down in West Haven. As Cruson steps in. First pitch from Cohen, catches the outside corner for strike 1. A good fastball in there.
Yale picking up the series win against Columbia mid-April, taking the first 2 games against the Lions 7-3 and 3-0.
The 0-1 misses inside, and it's even at 1.
Columbia taking the capper by a 6-3 score, but that gave the Bulldogs the season series win.
The 1-1 breaking ball upstairs, ball 2.
And Columbia hoping they can break through in the Ivy tourney. Penn winning it each of the last 2 years.
The 2-1 fouled back towards the football field.
Lions, though, guaranteed no worse than a tie for the Ivy title. It would be their 3rd title in the last 4 seasons for the Lions. 2nd straight as they took home the Ivy regular season crown last year.
Of course, a win in the Ivy League tournament as the 2-2 fouled back to the screen gets you into the NCAA tournament. Unlikely that the Ivy League winner would be hosting a regional, but nonetheless, it gets you in.
Quakers showed out well for the Ivy a season ago in the NCAA regionals.
2-2 fouled back once again towards the football field, so we'll do it again.
Didn't pick up a win, but they lost the opener against Virginia 4-2 and then fell in extras to St. John's 10-9. That was a 12-inning game. Year before that, Quakers went down to Auburn, picked up a couple of wins, including against the host Tigers.
2-2. Misses outside, and the count's full. Of course, you get into the 4-team regional, which is basically a 4-team double elimination weekend tournament, and anything could happen.
Go back to 2022. Columbia picked up a pair of wins at the Virginia Tech Regional.
The payoff pitch fouled back towards the concession stand, and we'll do it again.
Might be teams not to be taken lightly.
And then, of course, 2 teams advance out of each regional. The top 8 seeds host a best-of-3 super regional as Cohen's payoff pitch lifted high in the air, shallow left field. Going back is Pierre Antoni, will pull it in, and there's one away.
Anything hit on that left side, have to battle not just the wind swirling across the field at this point, but also have to battle the sun. Goes down over our shoulders here, back along the first base side. Shadow starting to be cast out just behind the first base bag, so you're looking directly at the sun as it's dropping down. It's almost as though when they designed baseball stadiums back in the early 1900s, they weren't thinking about the sun at moments in time.
They were not. As that one fouled back onto the roof of the varsity house. Oh, maybe not. Just misses. The swirling wind pushed it back towards the fans on the right field side. So lucky fan will get to take that one back to the third base dugout. 0-1 the count now to Camden Rush. Cohen delivers a changeup that he fouls back to the football field.
I think the most famous example of a sun field I can think of is Wacona Park.
Pittsfield, yes.
Pittsfield, Massachusetts, where if the weather's too nice, you actually have to have a delay as the sun is setting in a game.
Little Falls, New York also had that situation as Rush fouls another one back, and it's 0-2.
Wacona Park, going a long ways back, was the home of the Pittsfield Mets for a period of time. The 80s and 90s. It's hosted some wooden-backed summer league teams as of more recent iterations, but sun sets just to the right of center field.
The 0-2 from Cohen. Ball 1.
Didn't miss by much.
Everybody thought that was close. Looking at Mark Chamberlain, waiting for the call. Yeah, the 80s and early 90s in the Eastern League AA baseball, there were a lot of smaller New England towns as the 1-2 skips all the way to the bricks, and it's 2-2.
Minor league baseball came back to New Hampshire with the Fisher Cats in 2004. Before that, you'd have to go all the way back to the mid-'80s when the Nashua Pirates were in existence down at Holman Stadium.
Swung on and grounded up the middle. This is picked up by Pierre Antoni over to first in time. It was not a particularly great throw. Rush maybe didn't run quite as hard as he could have. Nonetheless, 6-3 put out on Rush, and that'll bring up Ethan Brown with 2 away.
It was nice work by Pierre Antoni, ranging over to his left, as you said, maybe not the strongest throw, but momentum carrying him towards center field, so had to really throw with his momentum carrying him away from everything. Did well to get that one on target. Nice job by Sobecki to scoop it up.
Brown takes ball 1, and I didn't even think Pierre Antoni was going to get to that ball. And then he got to the ball and made a throw. 1-0 misses inside, and it's quickly 2-0. But yeah, the Pittsfield Mets playing at Wacona Park. Waterbury had the Waterbury Indians. New Britain had the New Britain Red Sox. The 2-0 outside. Holyoke had the Millers, who were affiliated with the Seattle Mariners for quite a while. Well, 4 or 5 seasons, I guess. Not that long.
Some low-level clubs going back to the 40s in Manchester. There's a team that was affiliated with the Yankees here in New Hampshire for a while. Of course, the Nashua Dodgers, the first integrated teams in American baseball. Roy Campanella, Don Newcomb.
3-2 the count as Ethan Brown has looked at 2 strikes there that were very, very close. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Yale leads it 7-1. Cohen looks in, fires the payoff pitch, and it's fouled back onto the roof of the varsity house. Hope somebody's going to go up there and pick up all those baseballs later. Save the athletic budget.
We had the Maine Mariners up in Maine for a while.
Called strike 3 as Brown looks at one on the outside corner, and the side is retired. So at the end of 6th.
That was the first series win for Dartmouth since 2022, taking 2 of 3 in New Haven. Bulldogs have won 4 straight series. Now make it 5 because we know that they've won the series. So 5 straight series wins here in Hanover for Yale.
Dower steps in. He's flown out to right, flown out to center, popped out to second base.
Takes in the turf here for ball 1. So Will trying to keep it close here for the Big Green. Has not gone longer than 3 1/3 innings this season. Has done so 3 times. Most recently against Brown back on April the 11th. Breaking ball misses outside as there's action continuing in the Dartmouth pen. Kyle Cleric shall have been up. Also looks like for the Big Green, Joseph Chambers is throwing. So Dower looking for his first knock here in game number 2. He'll take a called strike. Dower, the only member of the Bulldog lineup without a hit. Each of the first 2 games, we've seen all the starting 9 come away with at least 1 poke. Yale offense that has more than come alive this weekend. Takes high and outside. Count goes to 3-1. Looks like there might be some action down in the Bulldog pen. And Cohn's walking down there right now. Don't know if to stay maybe warm in between innings.
That's certainly possible. We saw it in the first game today with Shaw going down there more than once to get a couple tosses in, especially when the Bulldogs were sending 9 or more batters to the plate as they did. They sent 9 to the plate in 1 inning and 13 to the plate in the 4th.
Dower awaiting a 3-2. Watches it sail outside for ball 4. So he'll reach for the first time here in game number 2 today. Leadoff runner is on for the Bulldogs. Cohn is at 98 pitches, which is pretty close to what his limit has been. The most he has thrown this season was 102. Did that in 5 1/3 innings against Cornell. So maybe pitch count wise, his day might be coming to a draw. Despite the fact he's only given up the 1 run on the 3 hits. How about this starting rotation, though, this weekend for the Bulldogs of Yale? First pitch to Sobecki. He offers at it and will foul it out of play along the first base side. 4 strike 1. 1 for 3 for Sobecki today. Singled and scored back in the second. Since then has flown out to left and grounded out to third. Rodriguez over at third near the cutout. Tight to the bag at second is Rush. Brown holding Dower on over at first. This pitch tails away outside. Count will even up at 1-1. Will wants a fresh baseball to try and work with.
Chamberlain took a look at the baseball that Will rejected, stuck it right back in the saddlebag, so probably wasn't anything wrong with it, just wanted a different ball.
Breaking ball catches the turf runner for first, taking off for second. Throw down's not going to be in time.
Caspon made a good block there and kept it in front of him, but wasn't really going to get Dower, who had a decent enough jump and then saw that Caspon didn't have the baseball.
Good read by Dower as Casaubon was looking around for it. Pitch into the turf, count to 2-1. To the Bulldog first baseman. Shows bunt. Pops this one up, caught here. This is going to be about the easiest double play you're ever going to see as it's fired down to second. So 5-4 on the double play. Trying to drop down the bunt was Sobecki. Runner was off on contact. Bearing down for third. And the Big Green record a twin killing. Second twin killing of the day here for Dartmouth.
And therein lies the problem with the hit and run with no outs. I mean, you're rarely going to see that easy a double play on a hit and run where the runner went early, but it does happen sometimes.
So Max Imhoff will be the batter. Takes a called strike on a breaking ball that's able to find the back door. Singled his last time up, hit by a pitch and scored in the fourth. And struck out swinging back in the second. There's Imhoff, the man on the base pass, who carried him to Camden Rush on a ground ball towards the second base bag. Eventually ruled the double play, 4-3. Pirantoni was the batter at the time. He stands in the on-deck circle. Umpires ruling that the double play would have been completed if not for the collision. Bulldog backstop awaiting the 1-1. Breaking ball gets underneath it, skies it out towards right. Howard circling, chasing over into the shady area along the right field line. He'll reach up, grab it, and make the catch. So the Bulldogs are retired here in the top of the seventh inning. We'll move on to the bottom of the frame with the Big Green coming up trailing by 6. Bulldogs this afternoon. This will be appearance number 20 of the season. 39 2/3 innings pitched. All 20 appearances coming in relief with a 2.95 earned run average. 44 strikeouts against 17 walks. So Brian Hamm is not messing around. He wants to try and close this one down and close it down as efficiently and cleanly as possible. DiCorrado, Chris Miller, Jackson Howard due up here for the Big Green. 5, 6, 7 in the order. DiCorrado so far 0 for 2 here in game number 2. Is grounded out to first and struck out looking. Evans pumps a fastball in. 4 strike 1.
You know, speaking of New England minor league baseball, I saw that Cooper Stadium, pardon me, ballpark in Pawtucket.
McCoy Stadium.
McCoy Stadium. Thank you. Where I went I dragged my wife to a game just about 10 years ago. We were coming back from Cape Cod, and I said, hey, the Paw Sox are home. Let's stop.
1-1 in for a called strike.
The bulk of McCoy Stadium has been demolished over the past couple of weeks, as the city of Pawtucket will be building a new high school on the site since the Paw Sox have moved to Worcester.
Pulls the string and swinging over as DiCorrado goes down via the strikeout for the second time today. 1 up, 1 gone here in the bottom of the 7th.
Always a nice ballpark to visit. I've probably been to 15 games there or so in the course of my life, and it was a very basic ballpark. You know, it's like, here's baseball, watch it, which is kind of the way I like it personally.
Some nice grassy knolls beyond the fence where you could kind of sit picnic style with your family and take a ball game in. First pitch here. Chris Miller misses outside. Miller scored the lone Dartmouth run. Coming in on RBI ground out by Axel Reese after he drew a walk and was pushed over to third on a Jackson Howard double. This one chopped right back up the middle, knocked down by Evans. Perfect bounce to him off the mound. Flip over to first in time for the out.
He literally knocked it down, slapped it out of the air with the glove, and then it bounced right back up to chest level. He grabs it out of the air and fires in time. Nifty little play.
So he's come in and put down the first 2 batters that he has faced. Better than a strikeout per inning for Evans on the season. 9.98 strikeouts per 9. That's second on this Bulldog team behind only Jack Oman, who we saw dealing yesterday afternoon. Called strike coming in here to Jackson Howard. From the outside, you're going to look at these games for the Bulldogs of Yale. You're going to see the video game numbers that they put up on offense, but it's got to underscore how impressive their pitching was here this weekend as Howard waves and misses for strike 2.
It's easy to focus on the offense when your team puts up 18 and then 19, but at the same time, they've only allowed 5 runs in the entire series. You know, you look at what Cohen did in this game, that's a great start at any level of baseball. You look at what Shaw did in the early game today, any manager is going to be happy with that.
All 3 starters working to the 6th or beyond as this one cuts inside. Howard can't hang up. Evans comes in relief, strikes out 2 of the 3 batters he faces. 1, 2, 3, the Big Green go here in the home half of the 7th. We'll move on to the top of the 8th. Bulldogs in front, 7-1.
First and second. 2 runs scored on the day as he reached on a walk in the second and was methodically advanced around the bases.
Lineup climb back above the Mendoza line coming here to game number 2 as he shows bunt, drops this one down the first base side, and he's going to have himself an infield hit. Doesn't just drop it for the purpose of his sacrifice. This time is able to get himself on base, and the speedy Parentoni able to leg out the infield single.
Yeah, just a great piece of bunting there. Is really the big green not really expecting the bunt, and he lays it right between the first baseman, Brown, and the pitcher. Nobody able to cover first base, so he scoots on over 90 feet.
Caden Dosa swing and a miss. The first offering coming from Will. 4 for 5 yesterday was Dosa. 1 for 5 in game number 1 this afternoon. Currently at 1 for 2 with the sacrifice and hit by pitch. Doubled and scored in the first, struck out swinging his last time up. Will stays away from him. Dosa can't get a piece and quickly finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Will's got 1 strikeout, and it was of Dosa back in the 6th. Quick throw over to first to keep an eye on Pierantoni. 14 steals on the season for Pierantoni.
You like to see that when you have a guy that gets on base at a good clip like Pierantoni does. As we mentioned, his on-base percentage above 300.
We have a pitch clock violation.
Yes, pitch clock violation on Will, so a ball has been added to the count.
Short lead for Pierantoni with the lefty Will on the hill. Comes inside, thought about offering, did Dosa, was able to hold up. Count goes to 2-2.
"25 innings of baseball, that's the first pitch clock violation of the series.
That one skips in off the turf. Casaubon keep it in front. And Will was ahead in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Then after the automatic ball, couldn't find the zone on the last 2 pitches, and it's gone full. How aggressive are the Bulldogs here? Do they start the runner Pierantoni over at first? He'll stay put. Pitch is going to miss low and inside. Dosa on for the 3rd time here in game number 2.
With a 6-run lead, I don't think you need to be super aggressive, but you're going to take what the big green will give you if you're Brian Ham.
So Garrett Larson will look to dig in here. Has driven in 3 of the 7 runs for the Bulldogs, 2 of those coming in the 2nd inning. A single sent out to left. He shows bunt. This one pushed down the third base side. Rodriguez up with it. Only plays over to first, but the throw is going to be offline and scoot into right field. 1 run's going to come across in the form of Pierantoni. Scampering into second base will be Larson as Dosa rounds all the way over to third. Bulldogs playing some small ball miscue in the field for the big green. Second error we'll see on Rodriguez. And it's 8-1 Yale.
Not only did Rodriguez make a less than perfect throw, but Brown also slipped on the turf trying to get to the bag. As now we're going to see Bob Whalen come out of the dugout, and I think that's going to close the book on Will.
Bob Whalen coming out to make the change, and we're going to have a new hurler coming in here for the big green of Dartmouth. At least I think we're going to have that. I thought I saw motion moving over towards the pen. Although, like I said, I could be, and that will be it. So Danny will come off the bump. New pitcher for the big green coming in. We'll give you the dossier and Kyle Cleric shell when we return. 8-1 Bulldogs in front here in the 8th for the big green. The senior righty out of Roswell, Georgia, coming on to make appearance number 16 of the season. All coming in relief. 1-3. Does have a save to his name. 26 in the 3rd innings pitched. 25 walks against 22 strikeouts. Comes on in a tough situation here. Nobody gone in the top of the 8th inning. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. Jeff Pierantoni with the bunt single. Then a walk to Caden Dosa. After that, Garrett Larson pushing the ball down the third base line. Taylor Rodriguez, errant throw to first as Rush was falling down trying to cover the bag. Allow the runners to move up to 2nd and 3rd. So the Bulldogs threatening with another big inning here as their offense continues to chug along. Danny Will got a nice hand making his way off the mound, the senior for the Big Green out of Ambler, Pennsylvania. Getting a hand from the Dartmouth fans in what will likely be his last game wearing a Dartmouth uniform. Still a chance for the Big Green if they can mount a furious late comeback. Keep the season going. So Dosa the man at third, Larson the man at second, Jake Williams the man in the batter's box. Williams reaching by error on Rodriguez. His last time up. High fly ball going out towards right. Hauer tracking back. Hauer running towards the corner, able to make the grab, tagging up from third and coming home with the 9th Bulldog run of the afternoon will be Dosa. Larson's able to move over to third on the play, and Yale now leads 9-1.
So that's a sacrifice fly for Williams.
So he drives in his second run of the game. That puts 2 away here. As Alec Atkinson will come up. 1 for 3 with a walk. That one was a no doubt about her home run to left. Looks like we have a pinch hitter coming up.
No, 1 out.
1 out, sorry. I don't know why I said 2. This one sails to the backstop. Coming all the way in from third and diving across will be Larson. So Chambers not able to stay on top of it. And Larson no problem coming home from third with another run here for the Bulldogs. They lead 10-1.
Yeah, that one just sailed right over Casaban, Mark Chamberlain, and to the netting.
So Atkinson hitting now here with the bases empty and 1 gone. Big overhand breaking balls able to drop in for a strike.
If you're going to send one to the backstop, send one low because it'll bounce right off of the bricks and back towards the plate, as we saw a couple times in that Cornell game, third game of the series.
See more than one runner from third break for home on a wild pitch get tagged out by a more than comfortable margin because of that quick ricochet. Of course, that means also the catcher has to turn around, recognize where the ball is quickly, get to it to make the tag. 1-1 misses high.
If I had to guess, it's only 35 feet or so from home plate to the backstop here at Red Rolf Field.
And it's brick down below, so that ball's going to come off quickly. Speaking of things coming off quickly, ringing single into left here for Atkinson. He's got his second knock here in game number 2. The Bulldogs just continuing to wrap out hits here in Hanover. So Tommy Martin will find his way to the plate.
Walked his first time up in the first, struck out in the third, doubled in the fourth, popped out to third base in the 6th.
He'll dig in with Atkinson over at first. Another overhand breaking ball that won't find its way into the strike zone.
Here we go, Tommy!
Martin, the senior, out of Bellevue, Washington. Snapped her over to first. Brown applies the tag, but back in with a dive is Atkinson. Atkinson has swiped 13 bases on the season, good enough for second on this Bulldog team. One-zero misses high and outside.
Chambers really a true overhand pitcher. If you watch the way he brings his right arm over his shoulder, much more than you see most pitchers really throw 3/4 most of the time. But watch how high Chambers' arm comes over his shoulder.
Straight motion coming down. Really makes it seem like those fastballs are bearing down on you really quickly, coming downhill. Right now, just trying to find a strike. Count has gone 3-0 here to the Bulldog right fielder. Another throw over to first. Brown with a swipe tag, and Atkinson's back in head first. Yale has scored 10 runs or better in each game in this set. Now scored 7 runs or more in 10 consecutive games. Chambers able to pump in a strike here, run the count to 3-1. They were hitting .282 as a team coming into the weekend. That was good enough for second overall in the Ivy League. That number is only likely to climb after the set here in Hanover. 3-1. Misses high. Free pass issued here. And Martin will trot his way down to first. Second walk he's drawn here this afternoon.
That sets up first and second with one out.
Jack Dower looking to try and break through. The only member of the starting 9 for Yale here in the back end of the twin bill that is yet to record a hit. Has reached base. Drew a walk his last time up in the 7th. Has lined out to right, flown out to center, and popped up to second. He'll take a breaking ball. 4-1. Mentioned Dower, just a first year of Royal Oak, Michigan. He's played a nice third base here today.
Had a big day earlier today in the first game. 2 singles yesterday in the first game of the series.
He's starting to put it together a little bit for this Yale team. Next hit for him will be his 50th of the season. He's hit safely in 6 straight games. 5 of those 6 have featured 2 hits. So coming on late as the season's starting to draw towards a close. Chopper off the plate, and we'll go foul. So we'll do the 0-2 over again. Brian Ham, the 2002 grad out of Middlebury's got his team playing some great baseball right now. As the season is winding its way towards its conclusion. At least the regular season for the Bulldogs of Yale. 0-2 coming. Chopped over on the left side. Cruzen has to back up on it. Bobbles it for a moment. No play to go anywhere. And everyone's going to stay safe. Even if he fields that cleanly, that's going to be a long throw across the diamond. Dower moves pretty decently. We'll wait to see how they score it, but I'm imagining that's going to go as an infield hit.
I see that as an infield hit, man. I mean, it bounces. He tries to field it on the backhand, and he makes the play. He gets enough on it that it bounces to his chest, and he eats it deep in the hole, and they do, in fact, score that hit.
So Dower with a base hit, his first of the afternoon for the 3rd straight game. Every member of the starting 9 for Yale has at least 1 knock. Hayden Sebecki taking low for ball 1. Sebecki popping into a double play his last time up in the 7th. Trying to drop a bunt down, but ended up popping it right into the glove of Casabon, who threw down to second when Dower was off on the bunt attempt. Last pitch in for a called strike. Sebecki 1 for 4 today. The one was a single back in the second, eventually coming around to score on the Larson RBI single. Sends this one skyward, back out behind the second base bag. Reese is coming on, right on the trunk of the tree, will make the catch. Half tag from third and a couple steps down the line. Coming there from Atkinson. Throw comes all the way through, and he'll stay put. 2 gone now here in the top of the 8th.
Yeah, not really deep enough for Atkinson to have tried to score, as Reese made that play, just as you said, on the trunk of the tree logo there in center field. Probably about 75 feet behind second base.
Max Imhoff, the 9th batter to come up here in the top of the 8th for the Bulldogs. Comes up with the bases loaded. Thought about going after the first pitch. They'll peel down. Michael Hinojosa says no, he did not go around, so it'll be ball 1. 1 for 3 for Imhoff here. Was hit by a pitch and scored in the 4th. Struck out swinging in the 2nd. The one was a single back in the 5th. Flew it to right his last time up. Bender that stays a little bit high. Count goes to 2 balls, no strikes. Bulldogs threatening to bat around for the first time here in game number 2. They've done so in each of the first 2 games of this 3-game set. Did send 8 batters to the plate back in the 4th. Healthy cut that time coming from Imhoff. Foul tipped into the mid of Casaubon for strike 1.
Nice fastball there from Chambers on the outer half that Imhoff was unable to catch up to.
So looking at a 2-1. Imhoff waits. Chambers misses outside. 3 balls and a strike to the Bulldog backstop. Up again with the bases loaded here in Hanover. 3-1. High fly ball. Going out towards left. Miller camps underneath. He'll make the grab, and that will retire the side here in the top of the 8th. But the Bulldogs push across 3 more runs. They lead 10-1 as we move on through 7.5 innings of play here in Hanover. Dartmouth, much opportunity to breathe. Tate Evans back out to the bump to work things here in his 2nd inning of relief coming on for Daniel Cohen. Cohen today going 6 innings, allowing 1 run, which was earned on 3 hits, walking 3 and striking out 4. Evans putting Big Green down 1-2-3, back in the 7th. Looks like we have a pinch hitter coming up here for Dartmouth.
Going to be Luke Carroll coming up as the pinch hitter for Axel Reese.
Carroll pinch hit last game, delivered a single into left field. Evans no problem pumping in a strike. He was not just efficient, throwing 10 pitches to record all 3 outs in his first inning of work. 8 of those 10 went for strikes. This one slung towards short. Pierantoni up with it, over to first in time. 1 up, 1 gone here in the bottom of the 8th.
Nice play by Pierantoni there on the in-between hop, gathering it with both hands into his chest and firing to first in time to retire Carroll.
Zachary Casaubon 1 for 2. That one was a triple coming back in the 2nd inning. A drop shot put down that right field line. They've got him played more to pull than slashing that way. A lot of space down that right field line. If he's so inclined to try and poke one in that direction, takes a called strike 1. Mentions Evans, strikeouts per 9, better than a strikeout per inning in terms of his rate. 9.98. Bulldogs had 3 of the top 6 pitchers in terms of strikeouts per 9 innings on their roster. We've seen all 3 this weekend. Takes something off that pitch. As Casaubon swings over the top of it. Omen at 10.53. That was good enough for 2nd in the Ivy in terms of strikeouts per 9. Evans at 9.98 and Colton Shaw, who we saw last game, 9.82. 1-2 runs inside. Casaubon, the senior out of Jefferson, Louisiana, digging in and waiting. Cuts on and misses for strike 3. 3rd strikeout in relief coming here for Tate Evans. 2 up, 2 gone. He's put down all 5 batters he has faced in order.
Well, if there's a guy in the Dartmouth lineup that needs to get a hit here in the bottom of the 8th, it's this guy, Tair Rodriguez. His average is down to .352 on the season, which puts him behind Micah Peterson of Brown for the Ivy League batting title. However, a base hit here would put him back in the lead.
He's officially 0 for 3 here in game number 2. Grounded into a 5-4-3 double play to close things out in the 5th, his last time coming to the plate. Takes a called strike right down the pipe. Count squares up at 1-1. So far struck out looking grounded to 3rd and then grounding into that 5-4-3 double play. Takes up high for ball 2. Rodriguez had reached base safely in 21 consecutive games before not finding his way onto the base paths. In game number 1 of the doubleheader, takes a pitch up here. Didn't like the call. That gets a razz from the Bulldog dugout.
He was called out looking in the first inning. Didn't like the call on that pitch either.
2-2 coming, swung on and missed for strike three. Fourth strikeout for Tate Evans in just 2 innings of work. He puts the Big Green down 1-2-3 yet again. We played 8 complete here from Red Rolf Field at Biondi Park. 10 runs, 6 earned. Pair of walks to go along with 5 strikeouts. He ceded to Danny Will, who went 3 innings today, allowed 3 runs on 2 hits. None of those runs were earned. Walking 3 and striking out 1. Chambers so far, through 22 pitches in his 1 inning of work, giving up a pair of hits, but able to keep the Bulldogs off the board. 12 of the 22 going for strikes.
Couple of defensive changes for the Big Green. Miller will move from left to center field, and Luke Carroll, who entered the game as a pinch hitter in the 8th, will play left.
Ninth inning for the Bulldogs will start how the 8th inning began, with Jeff Pierantoni finding his way to the plate. Dropped down a bunt single down the first base time his last time up. 1 of 2 hits on the afternoon for Pierantoni. Big overhand breaking ball that stays upstairs for ball 1.
Chambers has had trouble getting that breaking ball to actually break. He's thrown 3 or 4 of those that have just been upstairs, one of them going all the way to the screen.
Pierantoni has scored 3 runs here in game number 2. Slashes this one out towards left. That's going to drop in front of Carroll for a base hit. So a 3-hit afternoon for Jeff Pierantoni. Feels like the rich are getting richer. Pierantoni, who has struggled with the average this season, seems to be finding it here late for a Yale team. And talk about dangerous at the bottom of your lineup. Guy that's hit 270 plus in each of the last 2 seasons. If he's starting to find his stroke as the Bulldogs are turning their way into the Ivy tournament, just makes a deadly offense that much more lethal.
5 of the 10 Bulldog runs in the second game of today's double dip, all scored by the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, too.
Caden Dosa taking a called strike 1. Dosa officially 1 for 2 here in game number 2. Has been hit by a pitch, dropping a sacrifice, and drew a walk his last time up. Has scored a pair of runs. Led the game off with a ringing double. Check over on Pierantoni over at first.
I think we might see some action in the Yale bullpen as right-hander Alex Huang sprinting down to the bullpen down the right field line.
Oh, 1 to Dosa, called strike as it clips the zone. Tate Evans has been nothing short of remarkably efficient coming on in relief of Daniel Cohen. Throw over to first, back in with a dive is Pierantoni. Thrown 22 pitches through 2 innings to record 6 outs, 16 for strikes. Striking out 4 of the 6 batters that he's faced. Chambers delivers into the turf. Like I said, the Dosa went around, and that's what they'll say. Mark Chamberlain rings him up. So Dosa goes down via the strikeout for the second time here in game number 2. Chambers is able to pick up the K.
Larson reached the last time up on the throwing error by Tyre Rodriguez.
One for 5 for Larson with 4 runs batted in. Takes a breaking ball for a called strike 1. Larson dug in. Takes here inside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. The 1-1. There's a good overhand breaking ball coming in from Chambers. Came in high, bottom dropped out. So it runs its way right through the middle of the zone. Bulldog looking for another series win here in Hanover.
Larson 5 for 16 in the series up here in Hanover.
Pops this one up and out of play. So we'll do the 1-2 again. Yale winning the last time they came to the Upper Valley back in 2023. Also series wins here in 2019 and 2016. The 1-2. This one chopped to the left side and through into left for a base hit. Token dive there by Cruson, but well out of his reach. Back-to-back singles dropped in here. Excuse me, a single coming for Larson after Pierantoni was able to single. Puts runners at first and second. So the Bulldogs just continuing to wrap out hits as it comes now to Jake Williams. Two for four for Williams. Flew a sacrifice fly out to right his last time up in the eighth. Two hits, a pair of singles coming in the first and the fourth. First pitch from Chambers misses inside for ball one. Bulldogs not content being up 10-1. They're going to play this one all the way out. Williams puts a big swing onto that one, skips in the turf, comes in front of the base, so no chance for the runners to try and advance.
And no mercy rule today. If you don't like it, well, play better next time. As they say in minor league baseball all too frequently. If you have a complaint, if you don't like it, play better. Meaning, if you don't like it, move on from this league.
It's one foul tipped into the mid of Casaban. 4-2. Win here for the Bulldogs. Chance to pick up tie for the regular season Ivy title. Will be their first since 2018 when they tied with, guess who, Columbia, which is who they were chasing coming into the weekend, needing that sweep to tie with the Lions for the regular season crown and host the Ivy tournament. Penn beating Cornell last season in the Ivy Tourney Championship. Knocked off Princeton in 23. This one sent into the screen back in the inaugural Ivy Championship. For a long time running. Once they stopped divisional play in 2018, it was the top two teams that played a best-of-3 series to determine an Ivy champion. Before that, it was the champion of the Rolfe division versus the champion of the Gehrig division from 1993 to 2017. Pitch is going to be cut on and missed for strike three. So Williams goes down via the strikeout. Second strikeout of the game for Chambers. And two gone here in the top of the ninth.
That'll bring up Atkinson. He homered in the fourth, a two-run shot, singled in the eighth. Pinch hitting now, Robert Ciula.
Ciula swings at the first one and fouls it off the facade.
Safe to assume that Ciula is going to come in and probably catch the ninth for Max Imhoff. Ciula came in as a pinch hitter earlier in the first game, grounded out to first base in the eighth, and came in as a pinch hitter for Imhoff yesterday in the ninth and struck out looking.
Picked up an RBI in game number one, grounding out to Ethan Brown over at first. Takes high here for ball one. Back in the division days, Dartmouth was a dominant team here in the Ivy League. They won 11 Rolfe division titles, 8 straight from 2008 to 2015. Good bender dropped in for a called strike two. Yale winning 6 Rolfe division titles. Back in divisional play in the Ancient Eight. They won the first 3 back in 1993, 94, 95. And then the last 2 before the divisions were disbanded in 2016 and 17. Another curveball dropped inside is retired, all via the K. Chambers is able to pick up 3 strikeouts here in the top of the ninth. Last gasp for the Big Green. 10-1 Bulldogs of Yale looking for the series sweep and looking for their first Ivy regular season title since 2018. They're 3 outs away from doing so here against the Big Green of Dartmouth. Due up for the Big Green, it's the heart of the order. 2, 3, and 4, Elliot Cruson, Camden Rush, and Ethan Brown. Cruising today 0 for 2 with a walk. That walk coming back in the first instead has flown out to right and popped up to short. Dartmouth has just not been able to find a way to get things going against this Bulldog pitching staff. As Evans misses outside, he's faced 6 batters, struck out 4 of them. 18 of his 23 pitches now after that first offering have gone for strikes. Pitch on the way, high fly going out towards right. Martin, couple of steps towards his left, camps underneath. He makes the grab for out number 1. So 1 up, 1 gone here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Bulldog team with a 3.67 ERA that's likely to plummet, save for a Dartmouth crazy rally here in the 9th. There's 299 rated teams, not including some that are still in the transitional phase in Division I baseball. Yale is just one of 15 teams entering the weekend with a team ERA of sub-4. Called strike 1 coming here to Camden Rush 0 for 3. Rush lines this one into center, and that's going to get down for a base hit. First batter to reach here against Evans, who retired the first 7 he faced, and the Big Green have 1 out base runner.
Well, you know, there's a saying in poker, Matt, all you need is a chip and a chair. And the Big Green have a runner at first and only 1 out.
You see something different every time you show up to the ballpark or really any sporting event, so it's not done till all the outs get recorded. Brown swings and misses at the first pitch coming here from Evans. Brown struck out looking his last time up. That came against Daniel Cohen. 0 for 2 with a walk today is Ethan Brown. Takes on the inside corner for a called strike. Brown doesn't like it. He'll take a walk outside the box. Now ready to step back in. Golfs this one up, foul one out of play. Eight strikeouts combined between the 2 hurlers here for Yale this afternoon. As after 11 strikeouts in game number 1. 7 of those coming from Omen. Brown stepping out here. Looks like he might have tweaked something. Trainer's going to come out and take a look. Brown reaching at his back as he's talking with Bob Whalen and the trainer. Take a moment, look to try and step back in.
Brown reached on a walk in the first. Hasn't been able to put much together at the plate.
Just misses there, does Evans. Count goes to 1 and 2. Comes inside. Brown has to pull back out of the way.
Shadows getting longer here at Red Rolfe Field.
Amazing how they cast, though. It's literally just covering right field in the area right behind first. Spinner that stays high and tight. Count goes full. They are starting to creep, though, from the top of the press box as the sun's starting to dip here. So we're after 6 o'clock in Hanover. Payoff pitch on the way. In there for a called strike 3. Tate Evans is pumping through the zone here today. 5th strikeout already in just his 3rd inning of work. So Stephen DiCorrado will be the batter. DiCorrado working on 0 for 3 here in game number 2. Has struck out twice. Rips this one into right field for a base hit to keep things alive for Dartmouth at the moment. Martin back in with it. Moving up to second on the play will be Camden Rush. So DiCorrado, his first knock of the afternoon, extends the game here for Chris Miller.
Miller scored the Big Green's only run in the 2nd after reaching on a walk. Went station to station around the bases.
So Evans will set from the stretch. First pitch to Miller, runs outside. After that walk, coming in the second, flown out to right, back in the third, and then grounded back to the pitcher. That was the comebacker to Evans that he bat down onto the mound. It bounced right back to his hand and flipped over to first in time for the out. Miller taking a called strike. Count goes to 1-1. Can't get Miller to chase as he lays off the pitch that ran away from him. Larson playing deep out and left right now. Martin shaded in and shallow and right. Fastball comes high. The count's gone to 3-1. Looks like there's some murmurings down in that Bulldog pen. 3-1 to Miller. In for a called strike. Catches the top of the zone. Bulldogs dugout trying to get behind Evans. Looking for one more pitch to make this one final. High fly moving out towards right field. Martin camps underneath. He'll grab it. And the Bulldogs capture an Ivy League crown, and they'll be the top seed going on to the Ivy League tournament. They come to Hanover and pick up a 3-game series sweep to cap off the 2025 regular season.
And like we were saying, Matt, they did it with hitting. I mean, they scored 47 runs against 5 allowed to the Big Green in the entire series, but they also got it done with pitching. You look at today, Cohen, and in the first game, Shaw were absolutely spectacular as starters for the Bulldogs. And then yesterday, Jack Oman showing why he's one of the top freshmen in college baseball. Going to be a great pitcher to watch next season. I mean, they got it done on both ends, pitching and on offense.
So the Bulldogs pick up at least a share of the Ivy League regular season crown with Columbia. They're going to be the top seed going into the Ivy tournament with the field now set. Yale will be the 1 seed. Columbia will be the 2 seed. Penn the 3 seed. And Harvard, the Crimson of Harvard, yes, rooting for the Bulldogs of Yale this weekend. And Yale's able to deliver. So the Crimson of Harvard will be the 4 seed going into the Ivy tournament. Yale wins their 30th game of the year. They will finish the regular season at 30-12. Dartmouth will finish at 11-25. 16-5 inside the Ancient 8 for the Bulldogs, while the Big Green will finish the year at 8-13. So that brings a conclusion here to the season for the Big Green of Dartmouth. Certainly disappointing. They did 1 out of 3 here today, or 1 out of 3 this weekend to try and find their way in. But as you said, the Bulldogs